Hey, it's Jose. I just wanted to take a few minutes here to wish you all a happy new year and a belated Merry Christmas. I hope your holiday season was filled with awesome memories and good times with good people, people that you care about and you love. And I'm just out for a walk right now, getting some fresh air and some exercise, trying to stay active. I tend to get pretty bored of activities, so this is just one of the activities that I do to be fit and just as healthy as I can be. I just want to share with you very quickly. I live on the border, Canadian-American border at Port Huron, and I'm just walking by the river, and it is so beautiful here. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to share it with you because it's just so lovely. So, I'm just going to flip over. So this is the St. Clair River. It's, well, you follow that river, it'll take you right out to the Atlantic Ocean eventually through different waterways. But that St. Clair River goes into the mouth of Lake Huron, which is right there. That's where we catch all our walleye. That's the Blue Water Bridge, and that's Port Huron over there. My brother Dan used to live over in Port Huron. He's in Howell now, but yeah, so it's a beautiful day. Let me just flip back, and I just wanted to say I hope you all stayed well during the holidays. I know that I got sick and isolated because of it, so I didn't really do Christmas at all. Actually, I didn't even put up a tree this year. There's a little bit more to that. All right, so I'm going to discuss my mom a little bit more. She is raising the sibling to the child that I have. So my daughter had a baby at 15, and the Children's Aid took her when she was about, maybe like 7 months. And I didn't know it was happening. My daughter asked me to come to the courthouse with her. I didn't realize they were apprehending the baby. I have never cried so much than I did on that day. But I immediately got on the ball, and I did what I needed to do to get her out of the system. I got her out of the Children's Aid system in 3 months. My worker was really amazed. She says, "Wow, that was really fast." I said, "Well, you got to do what you got to do." And because she lived in a foster home in London for a month with a lady she was like a funeral home owner. She owned like 3 or 4 funeral homes, and she was a nice lady. But when I got there, she was taking pictures and making scrapbooks of my granddaughter, and I got a little, first thing that came into my mind was that they were going to adopt her out, or attempt to adopt her out. So I wasn't having that. So I was just myself, showed them, my capabilities. I drove to London every other day for that month. That's about an hour and a half from here one way, so that she'd be seeing me, a familiar face, and so that she'd have less mental health disturbance because of it, and just because I love her so much. So anyways, I got her out of the Children's Aid Society, and she's been with us since she was 11 months old. About a year later, maybe not, just over a year later, my daughter got pregnant again. And while she was pregnant, the Children's Aid offered us the baby. And had I been alone, I would have took the baby, and that would have been that. But my partner told me, if you keep taking kids, she's just going to keep having kids and not being responsible for them, and they're going to end up in our lap. So I turned down the opportunity to have the child, knowing that my mom would step up to the plate, because when I was going to get my granddaughter the first time, even though my mom had not really spent any time with that baby, I mean, she had maybe seen her twice in the first year, she actually went up against me and put her name in the court. Like, she came up and tried to apprehend my granddaughter instead of me. So like, we were, I was upset. And because what kind of parent does that? Like, even if she thinks that I wasn't that great of a mom, I had become a much more responsible person by this point, and there was no reason why she should have been going up against me, but she did. And she used, in her documents, she said that she was French and that French is our heritage, and that the baby, and that I smoked cigarettes in the house, and this was all untrue. I quit smoking cigarettes before 2008, and quit smoking, period. Anybody in the house after 2008, like during the year of 2008, it was over. So, but just like trying to smear me in court so she could have this baby that she hadn't put any time into, that I had seen every other weekend and picked up, because I love my daughter and I loved her baby. I love her baby. So when the second child was born, my partner, told me I shouldn't take it, and I didn't, knowing that my mom would step up. But I also wanted to hold my daughter responsible for her actions, so I knew my mom would let her go and live there and be like a supervised caretaker. I didn't realize that my daughter wouldn't be able to follow the rules, and within 6 months she would hand custody over to my mom. And at first everything was okay. Like, I was picking them up every other weekend, another hour in a different direction. I'm just going to get into my car because it's a little chilly here. Okay, so so now my mom ends up getting custody of my grandson, and I had been picking them up every other weekend from the time that they were born too, so that the sibling that I had and the new baby could form a relationship as brother and sister. I mean, this is the thing that we do, isn't it? Like, love, family love. Like, I mean, these things are important to me. I don't know about anybody else, but they're really important to me. So the first year, I mean, I was picking them up every other weekend. By the second year, when my grandson, Isaiah, started being able to talk and like verbalize, when it was time to go home, as soon as we would hit the city outskirts, he would start to cry. I'm talking like leaving my town and having to drive an hour to go drop him off. And we'd get him home and he would cry. And my mom told him at 2 years old, if you don't stop crying, you won't go back and visit Nana. I'm Nana. And so my mom's grandma and I'm Nana. And wow. Tell that to a 2-year-old kid that you can't cry because your feelings are whatever they are. Let's find out what they are. That's what I was trying to do. I was letting him know, no, like, it's okay. I'll cry with you for a few minutes. I'm going to miss you too. We're going to see you in 2 weekends. Not that he understood what that meant, but I was trying to let him know that, we're not going to see each other forever. We're going to see each other again really soon. Well, about this time when he started to cry, so after that, I'd bring him home and he would run home at 2 years old and go run behind the couch to hide his tears. Because obviously he believed what my mom said and he didn't want to not be able to come over to see us anymore. And at this point he started to he was hitting a lot. And I realized that he was getting, smacked, probably for not listening or whatever. And because my mom, when we were growing up, she would do the, put you on your knees. But then once we moved away from Sarnia and the congregation in Sarnia, the punishment that she used to give us changed, and she started to smack. Like my younger brother got smacks, and then Isaiah got smacked. And he listens. He listens. He's a good boy. He listens. Like, I mean, maybe smacking works, but I didn't smack my kids, and I don't smack my grandkids. So anyhow, some time goes by, and he's running behind and hiding behind the couch crying when we bring him home. And then I started to have some concerns. My mom was getting old, and one time I was giving her a ride home because we would meet halfway for the first few years. We would actually meet halfway. She was pretty cooperative at the beginning, and so she would park at the school. But this time she decided, instead of parking at the school, that she would go park on like a little side street, and she thought she would see me drive by in the country doing 80, 90 kilometers an hour, whatever that is, 45, 50, 60 miles an hour in the States. Like, you're speeding along. This is a highway, it's not a city street. So she didn't see me. So I actually drove all the way to her house, and I had brought a friend with me because we were just supposed to meet halfway, and we were going to go back. Her kids were in daycare with mine, but she had to pick her kids up by noon, and mine stayed till 4. So we get all the way to her house. She's not there. So I leave her a note, and my mom had cats, and it was really smelly of cats. Like, it was bad in her house. I was actually like, I hadn't realized that my mom was having problems like this, like, because we'd been meeting halfway. I hadn't been going to her house, and I started having concerns. So on our way back, we're about halfway, and now I see her coming towards us, and she's like, and she's explaining that, she did this weird thing that she doesn't normally do. So I was like, that was where, things really started happening, where she would start withholding Isaiah, because she didn't like that I said to her that her actions were not in the normal. Like, and when Isaiah saw her, he started to freak. He didn't want to go with her at all. And my friend saw this. So I started to keep a track of the things that were happening, like writing down the events, because I was getting worried. I was getting like, what's going on? Is my mom going senile? Like, I mean, one of her aunts has Alzheimer's. So I know that in our family, we've got some stuff that could happen. And I was upset. But anyhow, over the years, so I let her be in control of the schedule for the first 6 years of Isaiah's life. And then what would happen would be, every time she would get an argument with me, every time she would get in an argument with me, she'd withhold. Or if I said something to her, because I said to her, I believe that these kids need to have a regular, consistent routine where they know that they're going to see each other within a certain amount of time. And I think it's best for their mental, their physical, their psychological well-being. And she disagreed with me. So there was times when they wouldn't see each other for up to 3 months at a time, if she got mad at me. And then as soon as like something would happen, because she lived in the country, in a small country town, if she needed something from me in town, like if she wanted me to go to a big box store to pick her up something, then she would be like, oh, and if you bring me this, then you can have Isaiah for the weekend, and like dangling him like a little carrot in front of us. And I would try to explain to her that these kids have human rights. They're human beings. They have feelings. They're family. They're brother and sister. They're going to have a relationship long after me and her are dead. And they need to build their relationship up now so they know each other and they have that love. And she just disagreed, which I don't understand, because we grew up with that family love. Like, I love my mom. I love my brothers. We get along. Like, we're not close, but we have the love. My older brothers anyway. My younger brother and I were, I'll talk about that another time, but we, so I ended up finally, Actually, I'm going to talk about it today. I had asked my mom never to let my granddaughter, because I would bring my granddaughter to her place. Like after we stopped meeting halfway, I started just bringing, I would bring her to her place and he would come to my place, and the house just got smelling worse. And so then I had told my mom never to leave my granddaughter alone with my younger brother, for my own reasons, never to sleep over there by herself. And I just, there was some, I don't know, one time he had tried to make me watch something with him, and I'm not going to watch porn with my brother. I'm sorry. I think that's just gross. Because he was talking about these 2 girls in a cup. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this 2 girls in a cup, but it has to do with feces. And he was like, what? You've never seen 2 girls in a cup? And he was going to try to put it on so that I would watch it with him. And I'm like, I don't want to watch porn with my brother. And I certainly don't want to watch people eating feces during porn with my brother. And I thought that was weird. I actually had to get up to leave his house and be like, fuck you. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that. I got mad. And that's when he actually was like, okay, I'm not going to force that on you. But I'm a really strong character. My granddaughter might not be such a strong character, and I'm not going to have inappropriate behavior like that. So I would send my granddaughter, and I would provide everything that she needed, like swimsuits, sunscreen, like everything. I really like to make sure that I'd rather them have more than less. And so my granddaughter comes home and tells me that she went swimming with my brother. Her and Isaiah, my mom let them go by themselves to the beach. And so the beach has like a regular area, and then there's this little tiny secluded cove. And he took them to the secluded cove. And he encouraged them to take off their shirts to swim. Like to swim topless. And my granddaughter Alex told me, she says, Nana, that made me feel really weird. And that was it. I snapped. I'm done. Because I'm going to get into it later, but there is a repetitive sexual misconduct that occurs in our family. It happened to my mom. She says it happened to me. It happened to my daughter, and it was not going to happen to my granddaughter. Well, it did. And I had to step in. And at that point, I didn't let my granddaughter go to my mom's anymore. And when I did that, well, my mom withheld the grandson. So I took her to court. I started a court case because I'm done. These kids have rights to see each other on a regular, consistent basis, to grow up as brother and sister, to have love for one another, and to be able to have a relationship, because we're going to die before they will, and they still need to have people that love them in their lives. Not the Jehovah's Witnesses that could shun you if you decide that you don't like what they have to say, but actual just your family. So that's where we're at now. I'm actually still in court. It's going up over 3 years now. I've gotten a bi-weekly order. It's a temporary order, but up until we actually take it to trial, they're going to see each other bi-weekly. So at least I've done that for them. I spent all my savings on it, like over $10,000. And I'm continuing to spend money because I've been doing the driving, most of the driving, since they were 2, since Isaiah was 2. So he's 8 now. So that's where I'm at today. I want to talk about my family, and my mom, the craziness that I have to deal with her. I don't think she thinks I'm a good person, and that's okay, because I know I'm a good person. I'm not the best person in the world, and I'm not the worst person in the world. I am who I am. I love myself. I even love her. Okay, I told her that the other day because she sent me a new calendar. She keeps trying to change the schedule. She just doesn't understand that there's a court schedule. I've actually had to send the police to her house twice now to make because she wasn't there. Like, I told her I was coming to get Isaiah, and then she just wouldn't be there. And then I'd wait like an hour or two, and she'd start driving up the street towards her house, see us, and then like take off like Mario Andretti, like pulling a U-turn My mom not only takes care of Isaiah, my grandson, who's 8 right now, she also takes care of like a little 92-year-old Jamaican lady, Beulah Smith. And this lady hit her head off the side of the window. My mom did a U-turn so fast and like tried to get away from us. I couldn't see if it was her from the distance. It looked like her van, so I followed the van and was following the van around town. She finally pulled into a parking lot, and I come up to the window and I like video, like, you know, was on the phone with my daughter. She was recording the call because it was my day. It was my day to come get Isaiah. She doesn't have the right to just not follow the law. So, yeah. So I am dealing with my mom in court right now. And because I want these two siblings to have a relationship that has nothing to do with my behavior, her behavior, this, that, or the other thing. And this is a new year. I'm just coming into 2022, and this is the year that this is going to be over. I'm, you know, praying to the energy of the universe, which is what I call God. I don't really see God as a throne, you know, person sitting on a throne over here. I see it as like Holy Spirit, essentially, but I call it energy of the universe. So I've asked the energy of the universe to please let this be the year that that this is over. It goes to trial. These children have the rights to see one another, so I would appreciate any blessings or prayers that you can send my way about this. I understand prayer to be energy, so like it's a vibration of the throat, and I will discuss how I got into that thinking a little bit in the future. But all right, well, that's it for my video today. I want to say thank you so much for joining me on my journey to I love myself. If you've watched my videos before, it took me a long time to really learn how to love myself. It started with having to look in the mirror at myself and saying, I love you. And that is the hardest thing to do at the beginning. But once you do it, you actually start to look at yourself in the mirror and you start to feel it. And when you start to feel it, then it will actually, you can share it with others. So I'm at the point now where I'm ready to share with you guys my ups and downs. I'm a real person living a real life with real problems. Sometimes they can get a little overwhelming, but I just breathe through it and keep moving forward, one step in front of the other. Not always easy to let it go. But this is a new year. May the sun shine in your day today, because that brings happiness. A little vitamin D always helps. And thanks again. I love you because I love me. And we'll see you next time. You have a wonderful day.